going to be celebrating Japanese New Year. I know I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this, but Oshogatsu is Japanese New Year. And a very traditional dish that is eaten before midnight is soba noodles. Soba noodles, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but the length of the noodle is supposed to represent longevity and luck into the new year. And soba noodles are, fantastic noodle, great ingredient to use in multiple dishes. We've used it many times here in the kitchen. And you're starting to see them a lot more in just regular grocery stores, which is fantastic. Pretty cheap too. You can get a whole sort of box of it for less than like $2. So really, really nice noodle made with buckwheat.
Yeah. Mixing it up.
So this is a really, really fast recipe. Start off by making the miso broth. So it's essentially water and miso paste. Now you can use any different type of miso paste. The one we use today is red miso paste. And again, there's something that you're finding in a lot more grocery stores now. And what you do is, as soon as the water comes up to a boil, to like a simmer, you can stir in your miso. And I'm gonna actually add the soba noodles and cook it right in the miso. Yes. Cook them when you're ready. Don't try to cook them ahead of time, because then they'll get way too soft. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna do it right into that broth. So less pots, don't have to worry about cleaning up too much. And in the next pan, we're gonna cook some clams. So I'm gonna take the clams out in a second, but I wanna start off with some flavors here. So we have some ginger, which is fantastic, garlic, and chili. And again, the chili is optional if you don't want the heat. But otherwise, we're gonna put into a pan some ginger, our garlic, and it's about a medium heat. Ginger and garlic, especially when they're chopped pretty fine, they will burn pretty fast. So gentle heat. A couple pieces of chili.
And what kind of chilies are you using?
These are just regular red Thai chilies. They're pretty moderate in heat, and what you do is, if you just want a little bit of the flavor, you can take out the seeds, most of the seeds in the white vein in the inside of the chili. That's where most of the heat is. And you can just add a couple little pieces of just the fruit, just the flesh on the outside. Okay. So we're putting it into about a tablespoon of oil. Again, medium heat, just for about a couple minutes. And then we're going to add our clams here. Love using clams. Use it a lot in stews and in pasta dishes. These are pasta clams. You can find all different types. When picking shellfish, it's kind of the same rules that apply to when picking fresh fish. You want to smell them, make sure that they don't smell funky. You shouldn't probably buy anything that smells funky, except for some cheeses.
Old cheese.
But
where did you buy these clams? Where did you get these?
so these I actually got at Loblaws. There's the one on Church, and they have a really nice fish section and really, really good seafood. So these are pasta clams, and all you want to do to clean them is run them in cold water, scrub the outside. Sometimes there's like sand and grit, and then put them into a bowl of cold water, and add a little bit of salt, like 2-3 tablespoons of salt. You want to try to mimic the ocean, pretty much. And what that'll do is the clams will sort of purge themselves, so any sand or grit they have inside will sort of spit out, and it's a sort of cycling system where they'll take in some of that fresh water and take out some of the sand and grit. And you can actually change the water like 2-3 times and until they're clean, but it doesn't really take long. You can do this about an hour before you use them. So the ginger and garlic is ready. Probably went a little too dark, but we're gonna add the clams right to the pan. So the clams are gonna go right into the hot pan, and we're gonna add some acidity right away, just to give it some nice flavor, just to create some steam. So you can do lemon juice. I have rice wine vinegar, but either or. And you have that nice sizzle going on. And then take about half a cup of the miso broth, and we're going to add that as well. And again, all we want to do is create this sort of steamy, hot environment. So as soon as we add the broth, you can see it's bubbling now. It's got a nice simmer. Cover it and just let that cook for about 5 minutes. That's pretty much all it takes, 5 to 6, depending on the size of the clams. And you can check them to see if they're ready, and I'll show you what they look like in a second. So you can see how fast it was. To cook them like 4 minutes. This is a super, super easy recipe. And they all opened, which is a good sign. They're cooked. Sometimes they don't open. So if they don't open, you can throw those out as well. That's it. To plate it up, the soba noodles done. They're cooked. So I put a little bit in your bowl. And then, again, depending on how much you like your family and friends, you can give them a few or a lot of clams. But you put just a little bit in there. And also add a little bit of that garlic and that ginger broth.
If you've never made a clam pasta before, the flavor is very wonderful. You get a lot of that kind of savory flavor. It's one of my favorites, so I hope you guys enjoy it.
And then top it up with some of that broth, that miso broth, which is super, super flavorful. And that's it. And then you can garnish it with whatever you want. So we have some green onions. You can put red onion. This is, you can put some bok choy. This is sort of like a Chinese broccoli. And then even some mushrooms on the side. You know, get creative, put whatever you want in it, but that's pretty much it. It's really, really fast, super simple.